Emily's deadly devotion is extremely disturbing and unusual. She thinks of renting a cabin in Montana. Here's a chilling tale about being devoted to the wrong man. Emily will make decisions based on obsession and love. In a desperate attempt to escape heartbreak, Emily retreats to a secluded cabin in the woods, seeking solace and creative inspiration. But her quiet refuge turns into a nightmare as mysterious whispers echo in the dark, and a stranger with a haunted past seeks shelter at her doorstep. Together they unravel a curse so dark it threatens to consume them both. Love and betrayal intertwine, leading to a deadly conclusion that proves some curses can never be broken. Chapter highlight. Whispers in the woods. Emily's first nights in the cabin are plagued by eerie, disembodied whispers. Despite her fear, she attributes them to her imagination. Fuel for her writing, she convinces herself. The stranger in the house. Adrian, rugged and disheveled, arrives unexpectedly, claiming his car broke down. Though wary, Emily offers him shelter, beginning an uneasy companionship. Their bond strengthens between them. The pair share stories of pain and loss, Emily reeling from betrayal and Adrian from a tragic love. Yet, as they grow closer, strange accidents begin to occur. Adrian's secrets are unveiled. Adrian confesses he is on the run, shadowed by the mysterious death of his fiancée. A suspicion grows. Is Adrian a victim or the cause? The shadow is near. Emily discovers claw marks and strange symbols etched on the cabin walls. Adrian claims a malevolent creature has followed him, a remnant of the curse tied to his fiancée. Descent into darkness. Seeking answers, Emily visits the local historian, who tells of Adrian's fiancée cursed by jealousy. The curse dooms anyone who loves Adrian to suffer the same fate. Love and fear are now present between them. Defying her better judgment, Emily surrenders to her feelings for Adrian. Together, they vow to break the curse, their love a fragile shield against the growing darkness. The apparition begins. The ghost of Adrian's fiancée warns Emily of Adrian's duplicity, revealing fragments of his past hidden in shadows, signs of possession for Emily. Adrian becomes erratic and volatile, his once gentle demeanor replaced by chilling outbursts and cryptic warnings. Adrian's proposal is deadly. Adrian proposes to Emily, but his hidden journal reveals his true intent. Her sacrifice is the only way to end the curse. Adrian escape attempt. Emily tries to flee, but supernatural forces tether her to the cabin. The forest itself conspires to trap her. Their confrontation began. Cornered, Emily confronts Adrian, who admits he must end her life to free himself. He pleads for her understanding, torn between his desperation and love. Adrian starts the ritual. Under the light of a blood moon, Adrian prepares to sacrifice Emily. But she has her own plan, using the curse's power against him. Fate's unexpected turn. Emily redirects the ritual, breaking the curse. The dark power consumes Adrian, ending his torment and his life. A lonely end, or so she thought. Emily survives, but the cabin whispers that the curse endures. Shadows creep closer, and Emily realizes she may have traded Adrian's doom for her own. But the ending just began. Emily's deadly devotion. The night was thick with silence, the kind that pressed against Emily's ears, muting the world. Adrian's lifeless body lay sprawled across the bloodied altar, his expression frozen in a mixture of shock and anguish. The ritual was over, but the air remained heavy, charged with something unseen, something alive. Emily stumbled backward, clutching her side where his blade had grazed her. Her breath came in shallow gasps as she scanned the clearing, expecting the shadows to dissolve with Adrian's demise. But they think it's finally over. If anything, they seemed to thicken, their edges sharpening as they crept closer. Emily turned and ran, and began to feel panic attacks. The forest that surrounded the cabin felt unfamiliar now, as though the trees had shifted, forming an impenetrable labyrinth. The whispers started again, louder this time, their guttural tones dripping with malice. "Emily!" they shouted. "It's not over." Her legs ached, but she pressed on, driven by the primal urge to survive. She reached the cabin and slammed the door behind her, leaning against it as her heart threatened to explode from her chest. For a moment she let herself believe she was safe. Then the floorboards creaked. The sound wasn't hers. Emily grabbed the fireplace poker, gripping it tightly as her eyes darted around the room. The cabin, once a place of quiet retreat, now felt like a trap, its walls too close, its corners too dark. She inched toward the bedroom, each step deliberate, each breath held. The whispers followed her. "Emily, you set us free." The bedroom door was ajar, and beyond it, the mirror reflected something moving, a shadow that wasn't hers. She forced herself to look, and what she saw made her blood run cold. It was Adrian. Or at least it was his face. His features were twisted, stretched across a figure too tall, too thin, with eyes that burned like embers. His mouth curled into a grotesque grin, revealing sharp teeth that hadn't been there in life. "Did you think it would end with me?" The figure's voice was Adrian's, but layered with something deeper, something ancient. The curse was never mine to break. Emily swung the poker with all her strength, but it passed through the shadow as though it was smoke. The creature laughed, a sound that echoed in her skull and rattled her teeth. "You can't fight this," it whispered, circling her. "You are part of it now." She stumbled back, her mind racing. The historian's words came flooding back. "The curse doesn't die. It finds a new vessel, a new keeper." Adrian's death hadn't ended it. It had transferred the burden to her. Emily dropped the poker, her hands trembling. "No," she whispered. "I won't let it." The shadow leaned closer, its ember eyes burning holes into her soul. "You don't have a choice." Emily ran to the altar, desperate for answers. The symbols carved into the stone glowed faintly, pulsing in time with her heartbeat. She racked her brain, trying to remember the historian's notes, anything that could help her. But the whispers drowned her thoughts, growing louder and louder until they were a roar. The shadows followed her, gathering at the edges of the clearing, watching with hunger. As she traced the carvings, her fingers came away slick with blood. Her blood. It was as if the altar demanded more, and she realized with dawning horror that it wasn't just Adrian who had been bound to the curse. The ritual had claimed her as well. "I can break this," she whispered, though she wasn't sure if she believed it. "You can't," the whispers mocked. "Not without paying the price." Emily sank to her knees, exhaustion and despair threatening to crush her. She thought of Adrian's journal, his desperation, his betrayal. He had tried to use her to save himself. And now she understood why. The curse didn't just consume, it corrupted him. The shadows crept closer, their forms becoming more distinct. Faces emerged, Adrian's fiancé, the ones before her, and countless others, their hollow eyes filled with eternal torment. "Join us," they whispered. "It's easier that way." "No! Please stay away from me." Emily screamed, slamming her fist against the altar. The symbols flared brightly and the shadows recoiled. But the light faded quickly and they pressed forward again, emboldened. Emily stood, her resolve hardening. "If I'm going to die here, I won't go quietly." She grabbed the knife Adrian had used, its blade still slick with her blood. The curse demanded sacrifice, and she would give it one, but not the one it expected. She carved a new symbol into the altar, her hands steady despite the pain. The shadows screamed in protest, their forms writhing and twisting. The air grew thick with pressure, and the ground trembled beneath her feet. Emily felt the curse latch onto her, a cold, suffocating force that threatened to pull her under. But she kept going, her voice rising above the chaos as she chanted the words Adrian had scribbled in his journal, the words he hadn't dared to use. With one final stroke, the altar erupted in light, blinding and pure. The shadows dissolved, their screams fading into nothingness. For a moment, the clearing was silent. Emily collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. The whispers were gone, and the forest was still. But as she looked at the altar, now cracked and lifeless, a cold realization settled over her. The curse wasn't broken. It was inside her. That night, as Emily sat alone in the cabin, the whispers returned, softer this time, but unmistakable. "You belong to us now," they murmured. And in the mirror across the room, Emily saw her reflection smile. But it wasn't her smile. The story ends with a final line: "The curse has found its new keeper." If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to this channel.